Welcome to the deep dive. I'm so glad you're joining us because today our mission is to basically shortcut your way to becoming incredibly well informed on a topic that honestly affects absolutely everyone listening right
Oh,
now.
100%. Everybody.
Yeah, we are talking about the bleeding edge of modern data security, and we're drawing the framework for this from a fascinating, really concise Turkish text we've been reviewing. It lays out the top 5 modern threats to our data,
Yeah.
and the goal here is to move way past that tired standard IT advice, you know?
Right, like change your password every 30 days.
Exactly. Like, we
Yeah.
all know we need a strong password. We all know not to click the sketchy email link.
Uh-huh.
Today, we are exploring how these mind-bending new technologies are completely rewriting the rules of privacy and security.
And we should probably state right up front, the objective of going through these 5 threats isn't to induce panic.
No, definitely not.
Because, when you operate in the dark, every shadow looks like a monster. But when you understand the actual mechanics, the why behind these vulnerabilities, they kind of lose their power to paralyze you.
Yeah.
It's about equipping you, the listener, to move from just generalized anxiety to, well, actionable awareness.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Because the very first threat on our sources list doesn't actually start with like complex cryptographic math or hardware exploits. It starts with the squishiest, most unpredictable operating system on the planet.
The human brain.
The human brain, yeah. We are talking about social engineering and deepfakes. The text notes that attackers have kind of completely abandoned those obvious, poorly spelled, urgent invoice emails.
Right, the Nigerian prince scam is dead.
Yeah, long gone. Now they're leveraging AI for voice phishing, like flawlessly cloning your boss's voice, or they're using deepfake technology to literally put a familiar face on a live video call.
It's terrifyingly effective.
It is. It's like the digital equivalent of a con artist wearing a hyper-realistic Mission Impossible style mask of your best friend. But I really want to push back on you here because this feels like, I don't know, an unsolvable problem for daily life. Like, if seeing and hearing is no longer believing, how do we fundamentally interact with our colleagues without constant, exhausting paranoia? I mean, I can't ask for a secret password every time someone calls me on Teams.
You're touching on the exact reason why this is so disruptive.
Mm-hmm.
Because our brains are biologically hardwired to trust familiar visual and audio cues.
Right.
For hundreds of thousands of years of human evolution, if you heard your friend's voice and saw their face, it was immutable proof of identity. The technology has simply outpaced our evolutionary defenses in, like 36 months.
Wow. Yeah, that's a wild way to think about it.
So the core threat here is the manipulation of human trust in technology. You can't just rely on human skepticism anymore. The defense has to shift away from our eyes and ears and move towards systemic zero-trust architectures.
Meaning what exactly?
Meaning the software itself has to cryptographically authenticate the stream, verifying that the pixel data hasn't been algorithmically generated in transit. We have to let the math do the verifying, not our brains.
That makes total sense. If we can't trust our own rendering, we have to trust the math behind the camera. Which actually is a perfect bridge to the second threat on our sources list, because if the first threat is an external attacker tricking us,
Yeah.
the second threat is us accidentally exposing ourselves just because we want to get our work done faster.
Oh, the convenience trap.
Yes. The text calls this shadow AI. And it's basically employees taking sensitive company data or, customer information and casually uploading it into tools like ChatGPT, Claude, or Notebook LM, just to summarize it quickly, with no official oversight.
Right. Everybody wants to save time.
Exactly. But here's where it gets really interesting, because I hear people justify this all the time. They say, wait, so just asking an AI to summarize my raw meeting notes could be a corporate leak. Isn't this just the modern version of employees using unapproved personal Dropbox accounts?
Yeah, that's the misconception. What's fascinating here is the absolute distinction between storage and training. When you put a proprietary document into a locked personal cloud drive, it violates policy, sure, but it's just sitting there.
It's static.
Exactly, it's static. But when you feed that same document to an LLM, you aren't just storing the data. You are actively teaching a machine.
Wait, so it's absorbing my data?
Yes. The proprietary data effectively becomes open source within the model. It alters the statistical weights of the neural network. You are teaching a machine that anyone else in the world can talk to.
Oh my gosh. So if a competitor logs in an hour later and asks a highly specific question about my industry, the AI might just hand over my company's secrets because I literally just taught it to do that.
Precisely. The data is baked into the model's logic now. It's a massive, massive vulnerability.
Okay, so shadow AI is humans misusing AI tools. The next logical leap here, and the third threat on our list, is what happens when AI tools start acting completely without humans.
Yes, the move from generative AI to agentic AI.
Right. So the text explains that the near future involves these autonomous AI agents that manage data and just make decisions on our behalf. And the vulnerability here is called data poisoning.
It's an incredibly insidious threat.
It sounds, but let me try to distill this. It's like hiring a brilliant, highly autonomous personal assistant, but an attacker secretly swaps out their contact book with the phone numbers of scammers.
That is a brilliant analogy, yes.
Yeah.
Because as we crave more automation, to avoid information overload, we are handing over the keys to the castle, to these agents.
Right, they have all the permissions.
Exactly. And data poisoning is so dangerous because it doesn't try to hack the system's walls.
Yeah.
It breaks the system's internal logic.
How so? Like, how do they actually poison it?
Well, an AI model makes decisions based on the data it was trained on. What constitutes safe traffic versus malicious traffic is just a line drawn in its mathematical memory. So an attacker doesn't throw an obvious virus at it.
They get caught.
Right. Instead, they subtly alter the training data over months. They mathematically drag the AI's concept of reality inch by inch until the AI genuinely believes that a malicious piece of code is totally safe.
Wow. So algorithmic manipulation resulting in a complete loss of human control. The AI is doing its job perfectly, it's just doing it in a warped reality.
Exactly. And it will happily hand over your system permissions to a third party because it was taught that the third party is friendly.
That is deeply unsettling. Okay, so far we've been discussing these very abstract cloud-based AI threats, but the fourth threat pulls the narrative out of the cloud and drops it directly into the listener's living room.
Yeah, the physical location of the data.
Right. Where does this data actually live? The text brings up this concept of Web 4.0, where the home itself turns into a server. Security is shifting away from these heavily guarded centralized servers and moving to edge computing in our houses.
It's a massive paradigm shift.
It is, and the everyday Internet of Things devices, the source specifically calls out smart refrigerators and smart toilets, which is just,
I know.
I mean, a smart toilet. Who needs a smart toilet? I have to ask, are we blindly trading basic household utility for enterprise-level security risks? Like, is the convenience of my fridge ordering milk actually worth my entire network getting hacked?
It's a totally fair question. The smart toilet thing is funny, but if we connect this to the bigger picture,
Yeah.
you have to remember that the weakest link defines the absolute maximum strength of a network.
Right. A chain is only as strong as its weakest link.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A hacker does not care about how secure your work laptop is. They don't need to break your laptop's enterprise-grade firewall if your new smart toilet is broadcasting an unencrypted Wi-Fi signal.
Oh, wow. So they use the toilet to get into the house.
Basically, yes. These bizarrely connected household appliances often lack strong security protocols, and they become open backdoors. Once the attacker is on your local network through the fridge or the thermostat, they can move laterally and infiltrate your entire home network.
So the appliance is just the bridgehead. That completely changes how I'm going to look at the appliance aisle at the hardware store.
You're buying little vulnerable computers that just happen to keep your food cold.
Unbelievable. Okay, we have arrived at the fifth and final threat. And honestly, this one feels like a sci-fi movie. So say an attacker can't trick your eyes with a deepfake, they can't poison your AI, and they can't hack your smart toilet. What do?
They wait.
Exactly. According to the text, they steal your seemingly impenetrable locked data today, and they simply wait for the future to invent the ultimate key. The strategy is called harvest now, decrypt later.
It is terrifyingly patient.
Right. Attackers are actively stealing and hoarding highly encrypted data today, even though they literally cannot read a single word of it right now, because they know that in a few short years, quantum computers will be a reality.
And quantum tech is going to completely upend classical cryptography.
Right. The text says quantum will be able to crack current standard encryption methods like RSA and AES in mere seconds. So what does this all mean? If it's encrypted now, it feels safe to the user. How on earth are we supposed to defend against a threat that essentially travels through time?
This raises an important question about how we fundamentally view security. We are used to thinking that if a file is encrypted, it's locked forever. But classical encryption is just a math problem that is too hard for today's computers to solve quickly.
Right. It would take a normal computer millions of years to guess the key.
Exactly. But quantum computers don't guess sequentially. They can solve those specific math problems almost instantaneously. So data that is perfectly safe by today's technological standards will be left entirely defenseless by tomorrow's technology.
It's a literal time bomb.
It is. Security is no longer about making something impossible to open. It's about extending the time it takes to open it past the data's expiration date of usefulness.
Wow. So if I steal your credit card and I can't decrypt it for 10 years, it doesn't matter because the card expired anyway.
Right. But what about your biometric data or national security secrets? That data doesn't expire, which is why the industry is rushing to implement post-quantum cryptography right now to protect today's data from tomorrow's machines.
This has been an absolutely wild journey. I mean, we started with trusting deep fake faces and cloned voices. Then we looked at the accidental corporate leaks caused by the convenience of shadow AI.
Yeah, the training data trap.
Right. And then the mathematically poisoned logic of agentic AI, the frankly bizarre reality of hackable home appliances on the edge network, all the way to the looming specter of quantum decryption.
That's a lot to take in. I
Yeah.
know. But again, bringing it back to you, the listener, understanding these concepts isn't about fear. It's about being well-informed.
Exactly.
Knowing the shape of the threats empowers you. Whether it's questioning a weirdly robotic video call from your boss or just pausing for a second before pasting a sensitive document into Claude.
Yeah, taking that extra second.
Right. It allows you to navigate the modern digital world safely.
I love that. But before we go, I want to leave you with one final mind-bending thought to mull over that builds on everything we've talked about. We've discussed these threats in isolation, right? But what happens when they combine?
Oh, the convergence.
Yeah. Imagine a near future where malicious agentic AI is actually powered by quantum computers, and it's actively, autonomously hunting for vulnerabilities in billions of edge computing home devices simultaneously.
Just probing every network on Earth at light speed.
Exactly. If attackers fully automate their invasions using the very technologies we are struggling to secure, does human cybersecurity eventually become completely obsolete? Like, are we just leaving ourselves with a world where only AI can fight AI in an endless, invisible war?
It certainly makes you wonder where the human fits into the loop of the future.
It really does. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Stay curious. Keep questioning what you see.
And definitely keep questioning what you plug into your Wi-Fi.
Absolutely. Until next time.